This video is sponsored by you, links of the channel in the description. Marcille discussion is infested with FOMO riddled gacha addicts with small dicks that tell you to get her purely on ground she's a super limited collab operator. But what's the truth of her kit? She's not bad since skill 2 exists, making her at least decent or good, but I still think she's not worth rolling. I've talked about skill 3 plenty in the past, so I'll keep it brief. It's quite possibly the worst designed skill in the game outside of Crown Slayer skill 3. You can only use it once per deployment, and for that you get subpar damage and Marcille stunning enemies outside of her own f***ing range, so she can't hit them. Plus, she has a massive chanting time before the skill activates, where she just kind of stands around with her dick in her hands. A lot of people say skill 2 is her saving grace, but let's look at it. Yes, it's a good skill, objectively speaking, but let's compare her to other AoE or multi-target AFK 6-star caster skills. DPS charts aren't fully 100% reliable since this game is so complex and varied, but they're a good baseline to work off of. She loses to Aya skill 2 at 55 resistance, she loses to Logos skill 1, she loses to Goldenglow skill 2, she loses to Laplan Altar skill 1, and she wins against Dusk skill 1. This would suggest that Marcille excels against hordes of enemies, specifically stages like H71 or MNX6, with a constant influx of numerous enemies, which admittedly Aya skill 2, Goldenglow skill 2, and sometimes Logos skill 1 can't really handle on their own. I want to specify her crowd control is not that important, and you probably shouldn't bring Marcille skill 2 just for that. For crowd control there is better options like He Who Shall Not Be Named, Ascalon, Manticore, May or Click. So Marcille has a real use you'd put her in the team for. If you are desperate for a horde clearer specifically, you could roll her. But there are so many horde clearers in this game that I struggle to think you are justified to roll her. The comparisons prior are only among a very limited variety of operators and skills. First, if we introduce Logos skill 3 in the mix, now he can clear hordes too. Second, Mlynar was in shop immediately before her, and his skill 3 can clear hordes among many other things. Finally, some lane holders like Blades, Gavial Altar and Executor Altar can also handle hordes. Marcille sounds valuable as long as you compare her with an extremely limited pool of units, those being her most direct competitors, but false the moment you consider all operators you could have in the game. Not to mention, you need to trigger this twice, extending its chanting time where she again stands around with her dick in her hands to 22 seconds. Literally speaking, the only justification to spend your limited gacha currency on her is if you are literally shaking from FOMO-induced anxiety since she's a collab operator, or you have a government-issued elf fucker permit, or if you seriously somehow don't have someone with good AoE or multi-target capabilities. Oh, and she's good in IS5, she's a good pick there. Laios is built like an April Fool's character, actually I'd argue Conviction is better. Skill 1's damage is very poor compared to other dreadnoughts, he stops attacking when a boss shows up, and skill 2 is so niche it ends up not having a niche or use. Any enemy worth using this on will vaporize his soul the instant the skill ends. Avoid him. Whew. Senshi is quite possibly the worst healing defender in the game, and anyone who tries to say he's an upgraded Gummy, like Fabknight, if that's his real name, feel like paid actors to anger me specifically. Gummy skill 2 is horrible. Excluding Hung, this is the worst skill among healing defenders without question. So tell me how the f*** someone with a Gummy skill 2 but worse is somehow better, or even decent. Skill 1, due to the cooking time, effectively has an SP cost of 9, one more than Saria skill 2, which in itself is already a pretty subpar skill due to how slow it is. Senshi has an admittedly pretty good heal and a random buff out of 3, which don't even have 100% uptime. RNG is horrible in Arknights, and he has nothing to make up for it, just a f***ing endless pile of more disadvantages. This is an extremely slow and thusly unreliable skill, that also can't be helped by SP batteries like Theopsis, since the cooking time is unaffected by them. Not to mention, like Gummy, he heals above 50% HP, meaning he can and will waste one of his charges on someone with almost full HP, and thusly burn a lot of overkill healing. Plus, it can't even hold charges. This skill is a fucking disaster top to bottom, its skill cycles are shit, it heals above 50%, leading to heals being wasted, it can't hold charges, the buffs are random and don't have 100% uptime, and SP batteries can't even help him. For most cases, you can think of Senshi as an upgraded Gummy, my ass! Skill 2 doesn't do enough, the main issue is the uptime, he just doesn't heal often enough. Any stage with a moderate influx of enemies will overwhelm him. Its only real use is to recharge mana for Marcille so she can use her skill 3 more than once. So, to reiterate, this skill only works with specifically one unit, and specifically with her skill 3, which is one of the worst skills in the game. Chilchuck is alright, purely because he's an agent. Him being immune to environmental damage makes him super useful in 1 in a million stages, one of which being CCB3, where he is immune to the tornado. He's basically in every max risk clear. Outside of that, he's usable, which is more than I can say about Laios and Senshi, but every other agent is miles better. Here's the members, I love you, special thanks to Good Leon, Seishin, Mr. Lair, Zilot, Joseph D, Bubo Beam, Fiunemo, Zephyrinix, Resilord, Nupo, Lortachio, Blackguard, Nemotic, Nerd Rage, Andre Mula, Maker Guerra, Max Obsessed, The King of Harems, Kevin McGuire, Jigster, and Chromechan, but JJF. That's all, my Church Gummy, bye!